listeners. Welcome to another episode of Romance Unraveled. I am one of your co hosts, Jacob Bozen.
This is your other co-host, Kevin Keene.
And this week we have one of Kevin's guests. So, Kevin, let's have you introduce him. I know him as well, but let's have you do it.
Yeah, this is my friend Augusto, who I know through volleyball. Augusto is a very talented libero and can fly around the court to pass some volleyballs. And we've played a few tournaments together. And like Jacob said, he also knows Augusto through volleyball. So we are all friends with each other.
And
Um,
it's so funny because Auguste, so we kind of have opposite court personalities. So
Hmm.
I'm kind of more zoned and quiet, and he's very
Vocal.
loud in a good way. But when we play together, we play so well, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, Augusto, well, let's have you introduce yourself.
It's me time. Thank you guys for having me. First of all, this is kind of like exciting, also a little nerve-wracking because not a lot of people know some of the stories I'm about to share. But yeah, I've known both of you guys through volleyball as well, and it's funny that Jacob, you said that like we have very opposite personalities, right? And that's so true. I can get a little obnoxious in the court sometimes when I am a little too loud. But anyway, it's we definitely play amazingly together. Um, so just a bit about me. I'm 38 years old. I don't know, I guess I've been single for kind of single, but not single. You know, like when you're like single but for a long time, but like you've also had like intermittent relationships like in between, but like nothing serious per se. I
We
feel
can
like
call them flings. Yeah.
well, not well. The last one that I had was definitely not a fling, but also like once you guys hear the story, like you'll kind of understand what I mean by like because I wasn't single per se, but like I also now that I think on the relationship, I think uh, I could consider that almost a year relationship as like me not being in a relationship. If you know what I mean? Well, you I guess you'll understand once I get into it. But I'd say I've been single for many years with intermittent like relationships here and there, not just flings. Um, but what else? I'm originally from Peru. I've been in the US for 20 years, the whole time here in the US. Um, and so that's kind of me. I'm as a Latino man, I can be very passionate when I get into relationships. So um, part of what you're going to hear today is, that passion of mine when I'm in a relationship.
Great. Yeah. Yeah. Let's get right into it. I'm excited.
Oh, you want me to just tell you the story right now?
Yes. Let's start.
So the last relationship that I had, right? It was first off, I told you I'm 38. I met this guy uh, in January of last year, and but should I say names? I probably shouldn't say names, right?
We can make up
We're
a name.
we're gonna call him Carlos.
Okay.
So I met Carlos. Uh, he was 22 at the time. I was 37 at the time. So, uh, you know, a few years of difference. Actually, his parents are about my age. So that was a little weird,
Wow.
you know. But, we met. I really liked him. Uh, I liked him so much that, like, we went out on a date, like, the following day. And things seemed to be going pretty okay. We were like, we said, let's take it to get like slowly, but it definitely wasn't slowly. Like we were seeing each other pretty much every day. Within 2 weeks, he texted me, "I love you,"
Wow.
and I
That
was like,
I
"Well,"
kind of experienced the same thing with one of my exes as well, so I get it.
I'm like, "Well, I mean, this whole taking it slowly and saying I love you is not necessarily like very consistent, right? Like what you're saying is not what you're doing." And this was like his only constant thing throughout the relationship, right? He would say one thing and then he would do something else. So I called him immediately and I was like, "Hey, like, I mean, I like you a lot, but I don't think I'm ready to say I love you yet." He was like, "Oh, no, no, that's just something I say to everyone." Like, okay, sure. So then a couple of weeks later, we again, started seeing each other pretty often. I think it was a pretty intense and very like cutesy relationship, like saying good morning every morning and talking throughout the day and saying good night at night, things like that.
Okay.
And then all of a sudden he's like, "Hey, I think we should just be friends,"
Oh,
which was pretty shocking. I was like, "Wait, what? You literally just said you loved me 2 weeks ago. We've been talking every single day, and now you're like, I just want to be friends."
Isn't this the truth though of the gay experience? Like at least in my
Right?
end of things, this happens more often than not.
Right? Has that happened to you,
yeah.
Kevin?
Not exactly like that, but there's definitely like a lot of that like fluctuation of, who's into who. If someone's into someone too much, then they like pull back and kind of like that dynamic of um like being very intense and then all of a sudden it just, dies.
Yeah.
But a question, did you feel kind of like that initial, you know, butterfly feeling in the stomach like towards him where you were like very excited about it
Oh
and
yeah, yeah,
like, a lot
100%.
of like desire to like like it was like a dopamine response whenever you texted him, that kind of feeling.
Oh yeah, yeah, 100%. Like, it was very like I thought that I was definitely developing feelings for him really quickly, to the point that I spoke with my therapist and like I had a total like meltdown. I was like, I haven't felt something like this in like years, probably since like my second boyfriend or something, when I was in my early 20s. And I don't know if he was, I don't know, maybe he was just like sort of bringing me back to like being in my 20s, like when you like do crazy things and you don't really think too much about like your relationships and the future and things like that. You just go for it, and then in a month you're like out of it again.
Right.
uh, but I definitely had a lot of feelings, like not necessarily like I don't think I was in love with him per se, but I think I was in love with the idea of what he represented.
Yeah. So how long was it from when he said that he loved you to him saying let's just be friends? It was not very long, was it?
It wasn't very long. I think, I mean, it was probably like about a month or so.
Okay.
Um, and so things were going so quickly that like even within that month that we like knew each other, we had already bought tickets for like this concert in April. And so this was January, right, when we met. Like really early on, we found out that like one of our like pretty big uh, singer from Spain was going to be in concert here in DC. And we were both like, oh my God, we have to go. So we bought tickets and everything. Like I got VIP tickets for both of us. And then when he was like, let's just be friends, I was like, well, I already didn't spend $300 on tickets. But I still decided to take him. And then after he said that he just wanted to be friends, he kept acting like a boyfriend.
That's annoying. That's usually
So,
how they do it.
you know, texting me, like asking me why I didn't like literally if I went like 2 hours without answering, he'd be like, what have you been doing? Things like that. Very like I saw a lot of red flags that I should have like, you know, like seen and acted upon, but I didn't. So we sort of decided that like we had a relationship, but like not really, which was very odd. Like I had never been in that situation before, where like we would see each other, make out and do things, um, but we did not have a label.
So it was like the real definition of what people call a situationship today.
I would say it was definitely a situationship for sure, but it's still, I mean, it sort of like never felt like we were just friends because again, every night he said like, I love you. That was a very constant thing.
Do you think he was more like he was a love bomber and he was just love bombing you in a way to keep you in his court, like just as an
Um,
option?
Probably, I think so. I mean, I think he was definitely like very lonely. Um, he doesn't really have a lot of family here. His mom is he's from Guatemala. His mom is back home. And I don't know. I think, and he doesn't really have many friends, as he's a very like shy, like reserved person. almost like you, Jacob, but without friends. You actually have friends and you socialize. He wouldn't.
Okay.
But also he has two jobs. He works like from very early in the morning until like midnight, almost every day. So he's definitely busy enough that like he doesn't really have a social life, right? So I think he was the only person he had, and yeah, so we kept this like relationship going without an actual label. Then fast forward to the concert, and the concert was very like sort of like important for me because like he he was kind of with me, but I felt like he wasn't with me at the same time. Like I think his thoughts were with someone else. And
What
that,
made you think that?
well, like this singer that I'm telling you about, his name is Pablo Alboran. I don't know if you guys have heard about him, but like if you want to go look him up, Pablo Alboran, he's from Spain. A lot of his songs are very like romantic and talk about like exes and things like that. And I felt that his mind was with his ex the whole time. So it was like I went with him to the concert, but I felt very lonely in that concert. But it was definitely one of those moments that I was like, well, what am I doing here? Like, this is like I'm so dumb for like staying in this whatever this is, like a situationship relationship, right? Um, so just one of the many red flags that I saw that I should have been like, this is your time to get out, right? But I didn't. I stayed in that relationship, and we were talking about different things. And long story short, he asked me to marry him.
What? At the
Like,
concert.
Well, kind of like we were leaving the concert, and we spoke about like different things. Basically, he's undocumented, and I wasn't gonna marry him just because he was undocumented, but it was like sort of like it was a long conversation that we had, and well, like he was jokingly said like, oh, I wish you could marry me or whatever. And I was like, I mean, I wouldn't mind doing it, like if we actually have a relationship. Like I wouldn't, like I would want you to stay in the country, right? Like I can't have a relationship if you get deported,
mm,
right? So part of me was like, if I marry this guy, maybe like eventually we will have something long term.
Oh my God. Like I'm in shock about this.
Like part of right. So I think part of me was like I wanted to help him in a way, because I actually like I think a big part of the relationship was just me feeling really bad about him, like not being able to see his family. Like um when he came to the country, he told me about like how he spent like a whole night in the desert by himself, and he was afraid he was gonna die. And it was just like all these things about like an undocumented immigrant that's in this country trying to like work his like his ass off to support his family, even though he's only 22. He supports his mom back then, his little brothers. He works two jobs, like 7 a.m. to like midnight. So there was all these things about me just wanting to like be protective, right? And
Yeah.
was there any was he like was there any indication that he was like still in love with you at this point, or like into you? Or it sounds like he was very kind of removed. Do you feel like he
well,
was using
it,
you, or was he, do you think he was like,
so I don't. This is the thing. Like he wasn't removed necessarily. Like in the concert, he was completely like removed. But like every single day, like I said, like, he would pretty much be obsessed if I didn't answer. Right?
okay.
Like, it was like very like I don't know. I think it was, looking back, it was a very toxic trait of him, just like texting me all day. Which like if you kind of like if you've been lonely, or like if you've been single for a while, just having that someone that's like asking how your day went, and like saying good morning, I love you, like good night, things like that. It's just like sort of, it's nice, right?
Yeah, definitely.
um so then we went back to like sort of dating for real, um but without a label. And I had the key to the house where he lived in. And one day he just, I don't, we were just doing like some, I think he was getting his driver's license, and he forgot something, and he asked me to go get it from his bedroom. So I started like, oh, and before this, like we had an open relationship, but the agreement was that he should always use protection, right? He should always use condoms, and me too. But when I got
Agreement
to,
that you had to tell each other if you did
no,
with other people, or it's okay to not tell each other?
no, it was okay not to tell each other. It was just like, you can do whatever you want. I mean, he's 22. I'm like, you do you. Um, and just make sure that you're always using condoms. And the main reason for it for me was like, because he's not on prep, he doesn't have health insurance, so even though like there's a lot of services for like, STD testing and prep and everything in the gay community, he was not using any of those things. So he wasn't on prep. He didn't have a primary care provider. He didn't have any access to care if he were to get something, right? So my main thing was always like, please use condoms. So I don't know what it was about his bedroom that I was like, this guy's not using condoms.
Okay.
He just
What does that mean?
so I call me crazy, but so I confronted him and I was like, hey, like I just want to make sure that you are using condoms. And he's like, no, I'm not. Like, I am using condoms, blah blah blah. I'm not lying to you. Like, he looked straight to me in the eye, and but that also rang another bell. And so one time I called them and I was like, hey, I know you're not using condoms. Like, I've got proof. I didn't have any proof, but I just told him that. Toxic like that. And so he confessed. He was like, yeah, you're right. I'm not using condoms. And I was like, how many? He was like, only 2 or 3 people. I was like, 2 or 3 people you're not using condoms with? So at that point, I was like, I think I was about to lose it. Like, I was actually really hurt. And I
Yeah.
don't know if it
Thank
was like
you.
the idea of him like not using condoms with somebody else, or just I don't know. I actually lost it. I was in a pretty bad shape for like a few days. So I was like, this is it. I'm not talking to you anymore. Blah blah blah. Like, wedding is over. Our beautiful planned wedding was over. But then I had a trip coming like right after that. Like, I think like a few days after I found out. Um, I went on a trip and had time to calm down. Came back from the trip. We talked, and long story short, we ended up getting married.
Oh my gosh, I did not know this about you.
You didn't know about this? Like,
I
this is
did
last year,
not.
Jacob.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God. Okay.
I feel
Wow.
like you always allude to it, but I've always thought you were joking.
No, I wasn't joking. We actually got married.
But
Holy
wait, so
crap.
you just forgave him and got married, or what? How did you get from being mad at him to forgiving him?
I mean, I think the trip helped. And I think also, like, again, just like my wanting to help him, like, took over me, or just me being in love with him. I really, to this date, I don't know exactly what was going through my head. It was one of those things where like you just don't think rationally.
Yeah.
You're still married.
I'm still married, yes.
What? Oh my God, I did not know this.
Mhm. Yes, not many people know this because it's part of the reason that I was afraid of this going on social media, but I don't care. It's fine.
I
um
am like shocked right now.
yeah,
Like I seriously am like I did not expect this at all.
so this is August 6th that we got married, and I remember that because that's my dad's birthday. Um and
Did you tell your parents?
my mom knows.
Okay.
Yeah.
Happy birthday,
Um,
Dad. Also, now.
exactly. Um but so we got married. I mean, we had, of course, in between like the trip, and because the trip happened in May, so we didn't get married until like August. So this is a few months of like us trying to like sort of work things out, right? So we got married. And the one thing I had told them about was like, if you lie to me one more time, like about anything, then this is like truly over. And it was like, well, what is a lie to you? I'm like, a lie is a lie. Like, I mean, if I told you, like, what are you wearing? You tell me red and you're wearing blue. That is a lie, right? Like, there's no levels to lying.
Yeah, you want it to be
Like,
honest for
yeah,
sure.
lying is lying. Period. Like, if I ask you what you're doing, you tell me you're eating a pupusa, but you're eating a taco. That is a lie. So I feel like he was really trying to like put levels to lying. I'm like, well, if I lie to you about like something minor, then is that a lie, right? So I was like, I'm giving you freedom to do whatever you want with anyone you want, with only one minor like request: use condoms, right? Is that too much to ask? No. So about a week after the wedding, it was a Monday, and I remember it was a Monday because I was at volleyball.
Oh
But
my
that day,
God. Oh my God.
well,
Okay. So it was after we probably played volleyball.
probably, probably. But that day, volleyball ended early for some reason. Like, Labor Run was like pretty empty. So by 8:30, we were out, and I had been asking him like, if he wanted to hang out, and he said that he was like gonna be with his uncles, like having dinner or something. I was like, okay. Uh, and something I don't know, there was just something off, and where he lived, like, was pretty close by to like volleyball, like less than a 5 minute drive. Like I would say like a 3 minute drive. So I was like, I'm just gonna drive by. Crazy me. Don't judge me about this. I drove by and I literally texted him a couple of blocks before I get to his house. And he replies right away. And he was like, oh, I'm at my uncle's having dinner. And his car is parked right in front of his house. And there's a Honda Civic like parking right in front of him. And he comes out of the car with another guy.
Oh, okay.
But that's allowed.
That is allowed, but the line is
He
not allowed,
lied to you. I see. I see.
right? So, and I recognize the guy because he had shown him to me in pictures. Like, he is a guy that he used to date back in Guatemala
Oh, even better.
when they were in high school. And so I saw him, he saw me, and I just drove away. And then he, like, I called them and try to like, like see like what was going on. He was like, well, like, I didn't lie to you. I was at my uncle's. And I was like, you weren't. Like, I literally texted you. Like, he kept his lie, even though I saw him with somebody else, right? And he was like, I'm going to, like, sort of wrap up things with him and, like, let me call you back. He called me after an hour. And I was like, well, good for you for, taking care of business before talking to me about this.
Hmm.
Um, so at that point, I decided, like, for sure, this is not, like, going to work anymore. I think for me, the fact that he couldn't be honest, regardless of, me giving him, like, the freedom to do whatever, um, was like that was, like, sort of like the last thing that I was able to tolerate. Um,
Yeah, that's like a punch in the face right there.
right? I was like, the only thing I wanted for you to do was just like, I mean, you didn't even have to text me right away. Like, you could have just said like, hey, I was busy. Like, that's it. You didn't have to tell me like what you were doing or if you were doing anybody. You just didn't have to respond at all. So we spoke, and I definitely decided, I was like, I can't do it anymore. Like, this is not working out. Like, I clearly have feelings for you, and I cannot be with someone that's not, I don't want to say willing to like be honest, but I just can't be with someone that's just like can be honest,
Yeah, it's something you'll always have to worry about in the back of your head.
Exactly, right? Particularly with like I mean, at first I took like the whole like wedding thing like very lightly, and then I was like, well, there's a lot of things that could go wrong here. And the last thing that I And so after that, like we didn't really like talk much. But I think it was about a month later, I saw a picture of him on a website, and it was just like the back of him. It was like a nude picture of his back and lower back, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, oh, this is odd. Like, because he's always like painting himself as someone who wouldn't be on this type of site. Uh, and I decided to talk. I don't have a profile on that website, but I sent him a message, and the first thing he asked is if I had drugs.
Oh,
What?
Yes,
Okay.
like right away, like from the get go. He was
wait,
like,
had you been talking to him for the last month or?
no, 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 I hadn't. Like this is like us like not talking anymore. Like I haven't been talking to him. Like that was sort of like the after I saw him with that guy and we spoke and well, I mean, we had to take care of a few things that we had the title of a car on our name and a bank account in our like joint bank account, so we had to like take care of those things, but other than that I wasn't talking to him.
Okay.
So I just saw him on that website, and it was like about midnight when I saw him. And so literally the first thing he asked was drugs question mark. That's it. Not even like, hey, how are you? He just like wrote drugs question mark.
That is so
So
sad.
sad.
And I said, um, what kind of drugs? He was like, whatever you want. And I was like, so I kind of like figure what he meant. So I have like, oh, I've got Tina. And he was like, yes, please. And so he just asked me for a picture. I sent him a picture of like a random guy that I know on Instagram. Don't judge me about this, guys. um, Gave him a fake address. And he was like, and I basically I said like, I don't have anything, but I can get something right for you. So he was like, okay, I'm gonna clean up and then head over. And I was like, well, I still don't have the Tina yet, so if you wanna like just come over. And he was like, no, I'll just wait for you to have it. And I was like, okay. So then he texted, he was like, do you have it yet? And I was like, yeah, I got it. Um,
What is
and,
Latina? What is that?
huh?
What is that? I've never
Tina?
heard. Yeah, what is
Meth.
this?
Meth.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh.
Wait, did you know that he was doing Tina like when you were together, or is this like
No,
a new?
zero.
Okay.
Never. I mean, he's like, he's like, if you met this guy, like he doesn't even drink, he doesn't even vape, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't do anything. So to me, the fact that he was asking for meth was just like extremely shocking. He basically like was asking for meth to this random guy on this website. I gave him a fake address, and I don't know, but like how like you can see if people are moving like on this website. He was
Sure.
like, okay, I got my Uber, and he like started like going to this guy's place, and of course, he, I guess when he got there, he found out that there was nobody to like open the door for him. Oopsie.
That's so embarrassing.
That's. I mean, I know that was mean of me, but like I was still kind of like hurt at the time.
Yeah.
Then I did it a second time, something very similar, but I just basically like at first I was like, maybe like it's somebody else, maybe it's not him. Like I couldn't wrap my head around the fact that he was actually doing that. And even though, of course, he sent me like face pictures and I confirmed who it was, like, and the location matched where he lives and everything. Um, but I did it again another time, and it was the first sort of like answer from him. He was just like interested in nothing but drugs. I mean, it was like he didn't even care who he was talking to or anything. He was just looking for it, which was really sad. Like at that point, I was like, I kind of now understand sort of like why he was acting the way he was acting throughout all these months. So to wrap up, basically, like the second time that he was asking for drugs, I was like, okay, this is definitely him, and he definitely has an issue. Like he definitely has a problem, right? Like you just don't get on sites and like try to meet up with someone that you don't know, and like the main thing you're interested in is drugs.
It's
Um,
surprising to me that this website didn't filter out or like shut him down, like someone didn't report him or something like that. Do you know what I mean?
mm, this is a very common like finding in this website.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, it's for a few weeks or months. I don't know how long it went before I actually talked to him about this, but I decided that I should talk to him about this issue, even though we were not like really talking. But it was also like about time for me to like start the divorce process.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna use this whole like divorce thing to like see if I can talk to him about like his drug use. And I told him, and he basically like took it very lightly. And he was like, "Oh yeah, I just tried it once and like never did it again." And I was like, "Okay, well, doesn't seem like it was only a one-time thing when you're like actively looking for it on a website and trying to meet up with uh, a stranger, uh, asking for only one thing." But yeah, and after that, I haven't like talked to him since.
Wow. So did you just pretty much make him leave? Like did you just shut down all communication? Like did you block him? Like what happened?
No, no. I mean, because we still have to like get divorced, so I didn't um block them, or I didn't block him, or I just haven't talked to him. Like I don't have any interest in talking to him, and it's clear to me that he has an issue, and he just doesn't want to like he doesn't, at least right now, like he doesn't want help at all. But again, I think now that, I mean, thinking back to a few things that he did and how he was feeling, like he would sometimes tell me like, "Oh, I've been sleeping all day, like I've been so tired." And I thought, "Oh, it's just, he works two jobs, so of course he's always like tired." But i, I think now part of the reason that he didn't, or he was always so um inconsistent emotionally, might have to do with his drug use,
Probably.
right? Because someone that's like doesn't talk to you all day, but then like the following day he's like all over. It was like very like, it was always like very up and down with um his, I don't know, just like the way that he expressed his interest, I would say, because he was always talking, like he was always texting, but he wasn't always like available to like for me to see him. So yeah, it was definitely one of the. I mean, I saw red flags from the very beginning, and I just decided not to listen to any of my. I didn't. I saw the red flags, but I just didn't really like act on them.
Yeah. So at what point are you in this divorce process?
At the point where like I still have to like print out all the papers. I
Oh,
haven't. I haven't really been doing much. It's gonna be an easy process because we don't have anything. Like I signed a prenup prior to it, so all I have to do is just like basically complete some like forms online or something, and then finish it up. But I mean, we had to be separated for 6 months prior to me filing the divorce request,
Oh,
and we got married in August. So September, October, November, December, January, February. So basically, just in February, I became eligible for divorce. So it's only been like a couple of months that I've been procrastinating.
oh my God, I can't even believe this. So is he gonna be in trouble as far as a status is concerned, like his like immigration status after the divorce, or is he going to be fine? Like what do you see?
No, I mean he's in trouble no matter what, because he's not, the the time between the wedding and what he did, and the time that we ended was too short that we didn't even have time to file paperwork for immigration purposes.
Oh, wow.
So I never submitted like a petition request or anything.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
He's
he's still undocumented, even though he's married to a U.S. citizen, he is undocumented and he doesn't have any legal rights in the U.S. So yeah, for all you know, I mean, for all I know, he could be like back in Guatemala. I don't know.
that is crazy. Well, is there anything else more that you would like to add?
No, I think I think that covers it all. I mean, of course, there were a lot of things like in 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 between that, like I haven't like a lot of details that I haven't time to uh say, but yeah, it was definitely a. And now, do you understand why I said that I was single the whole time? Does that make sense?
I do. Yeah, I most
Yeah.
certainly do.
Well, it's interesting to be you were like engaged at one point, and then you said, "Oh, but we still didn't have any labels." I'm like, is fiance not a label?
But it never felt like it. You know what I mean? It was just
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and I really think like the reason I said I really don't think he was using me is because he never it was never felt forced. Like he never made me feel any sort of like guilt about me not doing it. You know, he was very like, to an extent, when it came to like us like breaking things up, or like whenever I was upset at him for XYZ. Like, you know, the first time when I found out he wasn't using condoms, and then the second time, he always acted very like logical and very like respectful. Like he was never combative. He was never like it was. I don't know if you like. And I think that's probably one of the reasons that I decided to stay, because he was always very like apologetic. Um, he was very supportive with me. Like even when I was upset, he was like completely like fine. And like I don't know. It was a very weird. I had never been with anyone that was so like zen about everything. I mean, you guys know me. You know how like crazy I can get sometimes, right? In and out of the court. And he's someone that brought me back down, like
Hmm.
without like he was never upset at me. He never yelled. He never like said anything mean. It was like very, I don't know, like he was always a very good person to me, despite what he did. That's why it was for me. It was one of the reasons that it was so hard for me to like let go of it, because I definitely saw someone with a lot of potential, and I always wonder like why he was doing like what he was doing. And after I found out about the drug situation, I was like, maybe this has to do with it. Um, and that's why I wanted to like, I sort of like reached out and tried to help, but like, you know, of course he like refused help. So I was like, okay, this is it. This is where my commitment with him ends. And so, yeah.
Wow. Well, I think for me personally, this story has been the most. I'm shocked, actually. I really am. But yeah, I mean, for you, I like none of us had any idea. Of course, I had no clue. And it's crazy to me how you like dealt with that seemingly alone. Like that had to been a lot on you.
Um, I think so. I mean, I think for the most part, I'm the kind of person who like doesn't really like. I mean, if you've pretty much seen me throughout the whole thing, and I really don't show what I'm going through for the most part. Um, but I think I'm fortunate that I have like I think my mom was the only one that saw me like at my worst during that relationship, because I just couldn't. Like, once I get home, it's like if I'm outside of my house, I feel like I have a cape, and like I don't I you know, all of my feelings and emotions, they go away. But once I go inside my house, it's like I break down. So the only person that saw me was my mom, and like I just couldn't hide it from her. I think it was the first time that I couldn't hide something from my mom, because I was like, there were a couple of times where I was just like really, really bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you're just gonna have to keep fighting through it because it seems like it's not over.
Oh
So,
yeah, it's not. I mean, thankfully, thankfully, like all of those, like the initial feelings of like I don't know, I just there were a lot of like bad feelings associated with him, but now I've definitely. I mean, it's definitely emotionally over for me to the point that I can actually talk about it. I think for many months I just couldn't like even say his name without crying. And now I'm to the point where like, oh, I can actually talk about this and like be okay. And actually like reflect on it and know that like I don't want to call it a relationship per se. There was definitely something romantic about this whole thing, but it doesn't feel like a real thing now. Back then it did, but now reflecting on it, it just doesn't feel real.
well, I think this is where we can end it. I
Oh,
wish you luck
thank you.
in your fight against this or through the whole process. I don't even know how it works, but I guess you do. Um, but yeah, for our listeners, make sure you subscribe and save. We are streaming anywhere you can get your podcasts. And then make sure you follow us on social media. We are Romance Unraveled. Until next time.